What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about PlayStation and live service yet again. There's actually a news story to talk about tonight, but I want to try to breach the theme, get a little bit bigger, talking about live service games, right? So, look, we had this kind of inkling that PlayStation might be moving away from it, and I gotta say, honestly, I'm happy with that move. I think the writing is on the wall, and like I've said before, I get it. I get why companies do this. I get that you want maybe one or two big money boosting type games, right? Like everybody wants it. You look at the Steam charts, you look at that top 10, maybe even top 20. You know those games are racking in a lot of money, right? These live service games. I get why PlayStation wants it. I get why everybody wants it, okay? I also, though, see the writing on the wall that I don't think you can go all out. I don't think now is the time to have everybody just make live service. I think it's a doomed kind of market in that degree. Now, again, we've had this inkling that PlayStation was pulling back, right? In fact, there was the rumor, maybe back in September or so, I don't know the exact month, but there was a rumor from a source that, seemed kind of sketchy at the time, that talked about how PlayStation was seemingly pulling back, right? They're not going to do, and we knew their plan was 10 games over a 4-year span, maybe even more than 10 games, maybe it was 12 games. And then this source said they're not doing that anymore, right? They're pulling back. Now, I made a video, and I said, I don't really believe that. I said, we kind of needed evidence to show that these things were going to happen, right? There's none of these games out, so why would Sony back off? Now, I guess the answer to that potentially is they just kind of look around. It's possible that they have this huge initiative to do these things. They look around, they see everything failing. Not everything, right? Most things. Again, going all in. When you go all in a thing like this, it doesn't work. And they're seeing that. Could it be possible that they pull out? I think that is. And you know what? And now we're getting to where we're at today. I think there's actually been more than enough signs that they're doing it. So let's go up now tonight. There was the story from Deviation Games, right? Now, this is a studio that was, these studios that kind of open up, they have a couple hundred people, maybe even a little bit less, right? They're veterans of Call of Duty teams and Halo teams and Naughty Dog teams, right? Everybody spins off, makes their own studio. So this was a team that was making I believe, AAA live service shooter for PlayStation. It's going to be exclusive. It was going to be a live service game. The studio was shut down a week ago. Studio shut down. Now, that was through LinkedIn, right? A person posted on their profile that they lost their job. It's being confirmed kind of as we speak, right? So that's happening. Now, okay, that actually just adds. That's why I said, okay, now's the time. Now's the time to make this video because you had that happen. And that's a big one because it's one piece of the puzzle, but it's this studio, again, formed from industry veterans that PlayStation makes the deals with, right? And they say, hey, a third-party deal. We want you to make a game for us, exclusive, all that jazz. And that studio was just shut down. Now, what else have we had? Well, thanks to the 900 people that Sony has laid off, well, what was the one really big, there was a lot of stories with it, but what was a big story with it? Twisted Metal. There was a Twisted Metal live service game in development. It wasn't going great, right? The story was it was still a while off, and it wasn't even greenlit by PlayStation. So we're talking about a game that's a while, 3-4 years right away. That game was canceled. In fact, the people that were working on, that game in the studio, that part of the studio was shut down. So you have that. That's two. And now again, okay, when that happened, maybe it's time to ring the alarm or sign the alarm or sign the bell or whatever the saying might be. Okay, well, that's the second thing. Well, really before then, the thing that kind of kicked this all off, what about The Last of Us? The Last of Us multiplayer was that was probably going to be their big one, right? Now, yeah, a random third-person, first-person shooter might get more players than The Last of Us, but Last of Us, big IP, right? Big to PlayStation, important, right? And that was not going to happen. Naughty Dog basically came into the real, and maybe Sony did too, right? The way it was worded was kind of Naughty Dog figured it out. I think it was everybody. Everybody realized, okay, if we're going to do this, Naughty Dog has to just do it. They're not going to be able to do other things, and obviously that was decided against. So we've had a studio shut down today. We had part of a studio shut down, and a Twisted Metal game was canceled. There's probably more game cancelizations. Actually, no, let me throw in another one. The live service, the London studios, the team that PlayStation did shut down in that 900 people, they were making what? A live service game. The live service game shut down. So right there in the last, I don't know when The Last of Us, I forget when The Last of Us happened, but let's say 3, 4, 5 months, right? Half year. 4 games that we know of that were live service were canceled. Whether it's the studio shut down, they gave up, or, 4. Now, they promised, 10 or 12 in the next, 4 or 5 years? So you just lost a third, I was going to say a half. You lost a third of those games just that we know of, and just in the last half year. Now, Helldivers 2 made it out. That is one. That's one. One made it, 4 didn't make it. So where's all this going? Well, I do want to say this. Now, I've said this individually each time, but let's just make it clear. I mean, I feel bad. Like, I don't want these people to lose their jobs. And, you know, in the beginning, you know, when I make my digs at live service, but understanding why they're important and why studios want them. Look, am I happy that they've seemingly really come under this realization that they can't do it? Yeah. I think that that's the best move. Now, I'm not in charge. You know what I mean? Like, don't go based off me. But I believe that's the right move. Do I feel bad that that results in seemingly a massive almost restructure, right? You have to shut down studios. You have to shut down teams in a studio. Yeah, that sucks. That, and you know what? I mean, that's kind of a lesson, right? Like, you have to, they went all in, and they realized it wasn't going to work. I give them a lot of respect and credit, seemingly, for pulling back. I think no matter how you slice it, they're pulling back, right? There's really no arguing that. They pulled back. That does result in people losing because they were starting, and they said that. Didn't Herman Hulst say that, right? The way they built was for a specific reason. They had to look at how, like, what kinds of games they make and how you build teams for that, and they had to do that evaluation. I mean, it was Jim Ryan that said it, right? And they had to formulate a plan, and that plan resulted in people, you know, being fired. Now that's on the company, you know. That's on, and it's like all the other. It's not just a PlayStation issue, right? All these companies are doing it, but you know, I give them respect in one way for like understanding it, and I personally believe making the right move. You could disagree, that's fine, but I believe it's the right move. At the same time, it does come at the cost of, well, you built a certain way, you actually didn't even give it a chance. Now, give it a chance in the sense that the game never made it out, right? Like, the game never released. Maybe there were signs in development that the games were in trouble, and I think that was probably the case too. You know, I don't think they just shut down games for no reason. I think something had to have been wrong. So, ultimately, am I happy? Yes, I am happy. I don't think all live service is the way. I think this is the right move. I feel bad that results in, what, you know, you build one way, you decide, it's like a sports team. You build up, it doesn't work, you have to strip the entire team and restart. That's really what they've done. Build up, the plan doesn't work, the games don't even release, shut it all down, you know, scrap it all, build up to do something, you know, move over to the left and do the next thing, right? That's basically what they've done. But ultimately, I do think it's a net positive. And as I jokingly said on Twitter, this now opens up the doors for WB to swing in. They want to go all in. Now's your chance. Sony is seemingly pulling out. They'll have a couple. And Helldivers 2, massive success. I think there's room for a couple big Sony live service games. I never thought that wasn't the case. I just don't think you need like 12 of them. I think you could have like 2 or 3, but not 12. But now that they're gone, hey, WB, you know, Wonder Woman, let's get Wonder Woman the live service. And I'm kidding. This is sarcasm. I don't want this. But now they could just make every one of their games live service and fill the void that PlayStation once, you know, took up that spot. Now it's gone. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.